what it means to you to be resilient in business.
Resilience is a growth journey. It can eat you alive if you're not careful. So you need to really
In your first year in business, how was that for you? How did you overcome them? Because you've went on a big healing journey too, Trace. So let's go there.
When you do have a business, it will expose all your strengths, but it'll expose all your flaws as well. And I think in order to progress in your business, you need to clearly work on those and assess where you're at.
What other changes have you made in your life? Because I know you've gone through big transformations.
When you start a business, you really need to take inventory of your life and what exactly you have in your life. So the people, and you have to really ask yourself, are you willing to risk that all? Because I think...
Welcome to Diary of the Search Queen, the go-to podcast for salon owners ready to ditch the algorithm and get found by their dream clients on Google. I'm Sonja Raymond, aka Sonja the Search Queen, founder of the Search Republic, and after helping salons generate millions in client bookings, I'm here to show you how to create a reliable, low-stress lead flow without living on your phone. Ready to stop chasing and start filling chairs with ease? Let's go.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Diary of the Search Queen. I have my beautiful friend Tracy Fryer on the show today. Welcome, Tracy. It is absolutely fabulous to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Sonja.
You're so welcome, darling. And before we go any further, I do want to read out your bio and give it the justice that it deserves, because you're an absolutely amazing human that I'm very grateful to call a dear friend. Tracy Fryer is a creative force with a strategic mind, leading Design Studio Perth to deliver bold, strategic brands that help business owners grow with clarity and impact. She's built a branding agency that kicks average to the curb, with a goal to craft 365 distinctive brands a year. Off the clock, you will find her traveling, keeping fit, hanging with her chihuahuas, or creating custom jewelry through Trace Designs Bespoke. She's also the voice behind the Real Biz Life Chronicles, a raw, unfiltered podcast where real business owners share what it truly takes to lead with distinction and reject the mediocrity. I was on the podcast as well, so I loved it. But Tracy, welcome. Darling.
Thank you, Sonja. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. My love, this is a long time coming because I've been obviously wanting to interview for a while, because I'm very inspired by you and I think you're a force to be reckoned with. In my own words, you lead with so much heart, and what I love about you is that you get is what you see, and there's just no bullshit. And I just love that, because I just don't have time for surface level conversation. You just go straight in it, and I love it. My love, do you want to just share a bit more about what it means to you to be resilient in business?
I think, resilience is a growth journey. I think for me, when I first started my business to where I am now, that resilience has increased. I think it can eat you alive if you're not careful. So you need to really you have to persevere, push back, in the word, true essence of the word, be resilient. Otherwise you won't last.
This is true. Because you're in business since 2021, correct?
2020, July 2020. So yeah, pretty much. So
I met you Melbourne Cup 2021.
We did. I remember. Yes. We bonded straight away.
We did. We went straight deep. And I was actually pregnant with Sage at the time. And I was waiting to find out the news. Yeah. So yeah, that's mad. That feels like a lifetime ago.
It does. Yeah. And can I just say the feeling's mutual. I love that you lead with passion. You aren't afraid to call a spade, and if in spade, if I'm allowed to say that. So yeah, I love it.
Well, that's why we're friends. My love, tell me, why did you start your business? Take us through that time where you decided, I'm done with this. I just need to do my own thing. Talk us through that story.
Yeah. So look, I've always had a side hustle. I've always been, selling something or something along those lines from the age of 8, pretty much. But I think the turning point for me was when COVID happened. So I had a pattern as well, whereby I'd be employed, for 2 years, I'd get bored and then I would move on. So again, not great for a CV, but also because, I do naturally like to lead. I'm very driven. So I found I'd become the graphic designer. I do the photo editing, the website, the kitchen cleaner, all these different things, and still getting paid peanuts at the end of the day. And, it was just a build up with my last job, and it wasn't anything my employer had done. It was purely just me. And, I think when you've got this calling on your life, it's the only way you can go. And, no matter how much you try, push it back, ignore it, try different jobs, it'll always find you. So COVID happened, and that was a bit of a wake up call for me, because I think I realized life can change in a blitz. I was in a job I was deeply unhappy in, and I just, I prayed for a sign. And then, pretty much 2 weeks later, got the sign I was looking for and quit my job. And that was that.
I love that. That is just such a lovely story. And I think, yeah, talking about signs, I think it's very important that we do respond to our callings and that we do respond in a way that we understand the universe is trying to actually show us something. Because when
Definitely.
it's constantly trying to communicate and leave these breadcrumbs and leave us these cues, but whether we're brave enough to step up and actually take the bull by the horns is the next
Mm.
question. In your first year in business, how was that for you? Like, how did you overcome them? Because you've went on a big healing journey too, Trace. So let's go
Oh,
there.
completely. Well, I think firstly, I just want to frame that when you do have a business, it will expose all your strengths, but it'll expose all your flaws as well. And I think in order to progress in your business, you need to clearly like work on those and assess where you're at. The first year was manic. I think in my mind, when I first started my business, it was pretty much to replace my salary. So I was like, right, if I can replace that wage, I saved a bit of a nest egg. If I can replace that wage, again, I didn't know any better. That would be great for me. And through meeting various business owners, meeting a business coach, it kind of opened my mind to, well, if you bring on a team member, you can take on more work, you can expand your skill set. A big lesson for me was that I don't have to do everything myself. I had to put my ego aside and really, bring on team members that can do stuff better than what I can. So that was a big learning curve because again, you're bringing someone onto the team, into your business. There's a trust factor, so it's quite nerve-wracking. But that first year, look, it was fun. It was great. It was scary. I think I belonged to like 7 different networking groups because in my mind, that was how you kind of, generated business. But yeah, so the big one was just letting go of the idea that I have to do everything myself. It doesn't need to have Tracy's stamp or Tracy doing everything in order for it to be successful.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That has been my ultimate lesson in business as well. It's
Mm,
knowing the right people to delegate to. And, I think it's important to speak to that because we do, as women, need to be open to receiving the help and the support. And usually,
mm.
when we try to think we can just do everything ourselves, it's usually down to a limiting belief of what we believe we're worth. Because
Yes.
obviously the more you try and do yourself, the less you can scale or make more money because there is only you,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah,
So it's about,
totally.
I've went through, I think every business owner that has last past that 5 year point and that obviously had to smash through those limiting beliefs. But then I think we only spoke about this before the call is like, we both have been burnt massively by team
Oh,
members as well. And you put your trust and you
mm.
really want them to succeed. And the betrayal when a team member crosses you is fierce and it
It
hurts
is.
deeply
It
because
does. Yeah.
it's like they hurt your baby when they betray
Yeah.
you. You agree?
100%. Yeah. And I think as your
Yeah.
expectation is, your business is like blood, sweat, and tears and lots of
Mm.
long hours, our choice. But then you bring someone on and you have this expectation that they're going to operate in a certain way and it doesn't happen. So again, there's all these different layers that happen. And yeah, it's really disappointing. It's almost like going through a breakup.
I know. I hear you. I hear. How big
Uh,
is your team now, Trace?
got 11. Yeah. At the
Wow, yeah.
moment.
Yeah,
Mm.
I hear it. And when you're managing a big team, it's very important that you come with your own tank full. So, and on that, your own healing journey, I believe you do lots of things for your own health. Do you want to speak to what you do? Because like this woman's a
Completely.
machine.
She wasn't always a machine. She had some serious weight problems a little while ago. But I
I
met,
I don't ever remember you having a weight problem, but I remember
that's
you
good.
one day on a coast walk. You said to me, I was like, "What have you been doing, Tracy?" And you're like, "I've been doing intermittent fasting. It's what made me lose my belly fat." And I remember it so
Yes.
clearly. I'm like, "I'm gonna try that." And I tried that 2 years ago before I got pregnant with Willow, and I lost so much weight. And I've done it this
It's
time around again.
incredible.
The intermittent, it's like it's unreal. Yeah,
It's so good. It gives your system just a bit of a break to, in that window. So I'd eat between 11 and 7 and obviously
yeah.
high protein, low carb, and it works wonders. So, so good.
It really does. It really does. On your exercise, you do lots of. Do you want to talk to your exercise?
I do, yeah. So my health journey started by giving up alcohol 3 years ago. I just think I didn't have healthy boundaries with it. I think if I reflect back now, I think I kind of needed it to be liked, to feel like I needed to fit in. Now I'm at a stage where, if you like me, great. If you don't, that's also great. So, but again, I wasn't that same person. I was a very different person when I started Design Studio Perth. So that was 3 years ago. And then, as the universe would have, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I met my incredible business advisor who very subtly suggested almond milk and that kind of, Trace, have you tried almond milk before? And I was like, no, I'm fabulous. Why do I need it? Anyway, long story short, I ended up getting my genes read with Paloma from My Gene, and I had a roadmap for the first time that was actually tailored for my body. She's an incredible lady. And I thought, I'm going to honor this, come hell or high water. I'm going to get rid of my excuses. Because with me, I'd go to gym the end of the day and then 5:30 rolls around and I'm exhausted from the amount of crap I've eaten throughout the day and the 5 coffees that I've had. So I wouldn't go. So yeah, I just decided, I made a promise to myself, I'm going to honor this. And yes, completely changed my life. The intermittent fasting, just being more mindful of what I'm putting into my body, right? Because as a business owner, we do need to be on the ball 24/7, I want to say. And when your health is low, it impacts everything. So it's been about a 2-year journey now. And again, started going to gym. I didn't start 7 days straight off the bat. It started with 2 days, just setting, small goals. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They try to do 7 days a week, all 2 hours a day and go nuts, and then it fails. So I slowly just started building up that routine. I got into running about a year ago. I told myself I was never a runner because I played netball, bad knees, all that bullshit.
Only a year ago you started running?
February last year.
It feels so much longer than that.
It does actually, but yeah, it's only February last year.
Wow.
Yeah. So a friend invited me to park run. Melissa Jolly from Pinnacle Insurance invited me. And I thought, again, stuff it. I'm just going to go against that story that I tell myself. And yeah, just got into it that way. So I made the mistake of doing 5Ks in 2 weeks, got cankles, not a great idea. Scaled it back, slowly built up the case. And then decided at the end of last year I was going to do a marathon. And again, just slowly added 1 or 2Ks every weekend with my running program. And it wasn't even a program, it was something else I made up. I just did my own thing. And then, I completed 2 marathons this year and I've got another one in October.
Oh, I love that. I'm just like cheering you on because you're a little
Thank
inspiration.
you.
No, you really are. Because I actually am. I want to just chime in on the alcohol. I've completely really cut alcohol from my diet too. So I don't think I drank really since 40 under 40, like the
Yeah,
awards that
right.
night. That was probably the last time I drank. And then after that, I was just like, oh, no, actually, I tell a lie. It was my book launch on the 25th of May. But then after that, I was just kind of like, oh, I'm just not really feeling it. So I haven't really drank since May. I did have a glass of Moët last night because
Yeah,
we were celebrating some personal stuff
of
that we
course.
got some good news about. But I'm kind of like, when we go out to even to social situations now, it was always that habit of like, oh yeah, I'll just grab like a gin and tonic or a vodka lime soda. I'm like, I have 2 small kids and I have a business to run. I do
Yeah,
not want to get up hungover, but I was finding the more clearer my system was, the more hungover I would feel even after wondering. That I'm just like,
totally.
there's no point,
It hits you. Yeah, definitely.
Because, yeah, I love
Mm.
that you speak to that because I think it's very underestimated the power of what alcohol can actually do to your body.
Completely. And you're in this cycle, right? So for me, it was sort of like Wednesday through to Sunday, and we lived in Swan Valley. So you go to the wineries on the weekend, and my whole life sort of revolved around that. We've got Dan
Mm.
Murphy's. What are we drinking? Like, what wines do we have? And it was just breaking that cycle because I would just autopilot, 4 or 5 glasses of
It's your
Prosecco
culture
red.
though, Trace, because like you're South African, I'm
100%.
Irish. It's
Yeah,
like this
Aussie
is what we
culture as
do.
well. It's just what you do. So now I have, Coke Zero in a wine glass, and some people think it's boring. I honestly don't care. I just feel so much better without alcohol in my life. And I never ever thought it would be that way, but it's been a game changer.
Yeah. And what other changes have you made in your life? Because I know you've gone through big transformations,
Mm.
and I'd like for you to take the floor with whatever you feel comfortable in sharing.
Yeah. So, like I said before, I think when you start a business, you really need to take inventory of your life and what exactly you have in your life. So, the people, and you have to really ask yourself, are you willing to risk that all? Because I think you'll go on this transformational journey, and those that you think are nearest and dearest to you might not stay with you on that journey. So, my marriage fell apart last year, April, which was
Mhm.
it was a tough call. And my ex-husband's one of my greatest life teachers. I never take that for granted. But I really had to look at, is this marriage serving both of us anymore? Have we perhaps outgrown each other? So that happened, and it was like last year was an absolute shit show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
I
just gonna
know.
call, I'm just
My
gonna
heart
call
was
it what it
breaking
is.
for you. I know it
Thanks,
was.
Sonja. You were there, and thank you for your support. And I lost my 2 fur babies. So I literally lost my 3 loves in 1 year. And I was like, man, like how much more shit can one person take, But I always believe God, universe, if you believe in, always has a plan. And I think through going through, I'm going to call it a shitstorm, you always come out stronger on the other side. And it also helps you hold space for people who are going through the same thing.
Absolutely. And it recalibrates your
Mm.
energy to make you realize just how strong you actually are, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like
Like
the
I look back, I'm
resilience right
thinking,
there, my love. Like, you know,
totally. And just what you're actually capable of. I mean, my advisor said to me, Trace, like you had such a hectic year, but I had my biggest year in business yet. So somewhere, like I didn't even realize, only when he said it, I still found it within myself to, keep going. And someone said to me, why don't you just have a day in bed? And I was like, I cannot think of anything worse. Like, I don't want to sit around feeling sorry for myself. Yes, it
Yeah.
completely sucks and it's a whirlwind and I'm in the washing machine of emotions, but I've got a team that's dependent on me. I have clients that are dependent on me. And I actually think like if it wasn't for my business and core people in my life and that support, like I'm not sure I'd actually be sitting here, to be quite honest with you. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough.
And I can really resonate with that because I know what it's like
Mm.
when you are running a business and your whole world's falling apart behind the
Oh,
scenes. Like
man.
I've been through that many
Mm.
times in my business journey, but particularly around the fertility journey. Like
Yes.
to me, my business was the greatest savior at that time because it was
Mm.
like, well, this shit's falling apart. Well, I'm going to create
Yeah.
here. And then when you look back and you stand back and you look at the pattern, it's all in
Mm.
balance because when one side could be shit and one thing's amazing, they're two polar opposites. So it's in balance,
Yeah,
and
completely.
that's probably what you've experienced as well. But like,
Mm.
yeah, it is a very, very lonely journey when you are growing and you're
Completely.
expanding and you're coming into your full expression of yourself and you're fully aligned with your
Mm.
purpose. The thing is, when we are on so clear on our path, we illuminate other people's shadows, which aren't ours
So
to
true.
carry. And then
Mm.
people that are
Mm.
not meant for you will just disappear, out of your life. And that's okay too.
No, a great point. And also by trying to carry those shadows, like I think it almost brings you down in some way. So you
Yeah.
have to, it's I had a big friend cleanse as well. So
Same.
life like changed heaps. Yeah, I mean you can relate,
We've spoken about it.
we have, yeah, every single facet of my life has changed. I've become very
Yeah.
intentional with like who I spend my time with. Instead of having the 65 girls that were at my hands do, I perhaps got a handful of them now in my life, but those are my core friendships, and that's enough. Old Tracy thought I have to have hundreds of friends and
Well,
all
we
those.
don't have time for all these friendships, do
No,
we? Because we're too busy.
not anymore. Very good point. Yes,
Well,
that's a great point.
I
So,
know we've spoken about this before, is about like, friendships, they should be an equal energy exchange. If you come away from
mm,
friendships feeling drained or, you're feeling like they're very one-sided or people are coming and asking you for your advice or can I pick your brain on this? I'm like, nah, like I'm not your
mm-mm.
rescuer, like go rescue yourself. But you need
No,
to feel like you're also getting something out of this friendship. It can't just always be
100%.
one-sided.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know,
definitely.
which is why
Yeah.
we're friends.
Yes, definitely.
I love that. What's the next big project you're working on? Because obviously you have like this fabulous podcast and you're now in the studio. What's
Hmm.
the next big goal for Trace?
The primary focus is taking the podcast to that next level, but alongside that is Design Studio Perth. Now, I know I've been told many times to have one focus, but it's, taking Design Studio Perth to that next level, growing the team, running the podcast alongside that. So busy doing some planning for next year, which is exciting. So again, it's just baby steps and working towards those goals as such.
Yeah.
And yeah, just bringing on clients and team that align with the bigger vision. And again, not everyone's going to align with that, and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick break. If you're a salon owner, sick of posting every day with nothing to show for it, or you're staring at the gaps in the books again next week, well, we can help. So book a free call with my team using the link in the show notes and let's map out a Google strategy that brings in dream clients without the daily hustle. Now, back to the episode.
Tell me, potentially, if you want to just give her one line would inspire her 5 years ago, given everything you know now, what would that be?
Yeah, I think I would say that she's fully capable because I think, I doubt myself so much during that time as well. And like I said, when you're going through that shitstorm and then you look back and say, oh my
Mm,
gosh, like how did I even get through that? I would think I would say, you've got this, you're fully capable. And that also the things that I didn't understand about myself, I think are my superpower in some way. We've all got our superpower, right? So lean into those, instead of
mm,
trying to fit in or trying to drink to fit in or trying to fit in and be like everyone else because I'm not like everyone else. I'm different.
mm.
So I think I
We
would
all
try and
are.
fight that. Yeah, 100%. So I think that would be my advice. I hope that made sense.
No, absolutely. But I love that you've said that because somebody that was on the podcast earlier, we just spoke about
Mm,
that. Is that, like wanting to fit in.
mm,
Like we're all individual and we're all unique and we all look different and we all
yeah.
are meant to be different. But this level of conditioning stems from our childhood when we're in school. And everyone
Yes.
has uniforms, everyone shuts up, listens to the teacher, don't speak out of line, don't do anything. But if you do, you're reprimanded, you're sent to the principal's office, you're kicked out of class, whatever, because that was me all the time. So we're conditioned to follow the rules, but like
Totally.
very important to not follow the rules all the time that you don't agree with, because we are very different. And that is, I feel, why so few people think about taking those first steps to starting a business, and the procrastination around it and the overthinking about it. And the thing is, nobody really gives a shit, because everybody thinks fear what people think, fear of failure. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
They don't, honestly. And also, I think we're so conditioned that there's this structure in life. So you go to school, you go to high school, go to uni, get a degree. Whether, you know, if you're a guy, potentially you go and do, you know, work in that field. As a woman, you might get married, have children. And then I think when it doesn't happen in that format, you start to question yourself, I'm a failure. And this is why I love like what you're doing, Sonja, because I think especially in that fertility journey, when you say, you know, oh my gosh, you almost avoid it. You know, when you avoid falling pregnant, then you say, yes, I'm ready to go. And then it doesn't happen. And you're like, oh, well, fuck, that wasn't what I had in mind. Excuse French.
Yeah.
You know, this was my time now to go through this fertility journey, and it's not happening. So I think you really lead the way, and you create that space where you say, well, it doesn't always happen that way, but there are alternative ways to get about reaching that end goal of having a baby or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Like, that means a lot, because honestly, I just think that for something that so many women struggle with, is just not talked enough. And I made
Agreed.
that promise to myself that I was like, I'm not, like, if I ever have my girls, or if I'm ever fortunate to be a mom, I have to speak about it, you know? So I'm very proud of that legacy piece, for that's for sure. Like, it is a huge thing that I've done, a crazy thing that I've done, which
It
won't happen
is.
again for 5 to 10 years, because there's no way I'm doing that again while I have small kids, because it nearly broke me.
But it's also so brave. It's also so brave to put yourself out there, to be authentic, to really share from a true, I know authenticity gets thrown around a lot, but to share from that true space, like, it's very brave.
Yeah. Oh, it is, but I don't think that, like, my journey about fertility was just about my journey to around being a mom. I feel, and this is what the book's about, it's not just about fertility. Like, the fertility journey was the catalyst for me to do the deep healing work. Because if I didn't have that, there's no way I would have felt the need to go down that rabbit hole and be like, I need to figure out why this is not happening, you know? I like, there's no way I would have done that, because my desire to be a mom was so much greater. If I just wanted to grow my business, I probably wouldn't have done the amount of work that I've done. You know what I mean? But
Got
because
it.
I've done that work, the business exploded. Do you know, it's just kind of ironic, you know? No
Totally.
coincidences. And if anyone is listening that wants to partner with you in some way with how you help other business owners, like, what would be your, like, how would you be able to help them? Do you want to maybe just speak a bit about your business, about what your typical client looks like, and that?
Of course. Yeah, so at our core at Design Studio Perth, we're dedicated to helping business owners grow with distinction through captivating branding and design. So an ideal client for us is someone who has been in business 5 years and up. They've outgrown their current brand, and they're looking to rebrand as such, create that cohesion. Cohesion is the secret sauce, whether it's your web, print, social media. You want to have that cohesion in terms of your words and your visuals, that visual system, that wording system. It needs to be the same. Otherwise, you just get lost in a flooded marketplace. We do offer free brand discovery, even for businesses that are in startup phase. We've got a lot of free educational value that we share through our newsletter. I'm very passionate about this space because there's a lot of like cowboys with crayons, and business owners get so burnt. They spend 30 grand on a website. The website doesn't do what they're hoping for it to do. Well, there's been no brand strategy that's done. So there's a core foundation. It's like a house, no foundation, it falls down. So very passionate about this space. Through the podcast as well, always trying to, educate and add value where we can. So
yeah, I love that you've said that, because I speak about that with SEO and Google Ads, and because many people have been burnt, but unless you have the strong foundation with SEO or a strong website, you driving traffic to a website is not actually performing. It's just going to fall.
Totally. Yeah.
I love 100%. What you spoke about that. Tracy, I know I'm just mindful of your time, so I really am so grateful to have you on today as my friend and podcast guest.
Thank you.
So where can everybody find you if they want to partner with you? Where's the best place?
The best place to reach me is on LinkedIn. Otherwise, you can send us an email by heading to Design Studio Perth, and you can also listen to our podcast. If there is a question you'd like us to ask a guest, you're welcome to leave it in the comment section below.
Oh, love that. Thank you, Tracy. And thank you so much for being my guest today.
Yeah, thank you, Sonja. Great to chat with you.
You too.
If today's episode spoke to your salon soul, then hit subscribe so you don't miss the next round of strategy and support. For more help filling your books without the burnout, then check the show notes and you'll find a link to the Search Republic, where we build simple Google strategies that actually work. And if we're not already connected, come and say hi to me on the gram at Sonja the Search Queen, and I'd love to hear what landed for you today.